Well, good morning, everybody. And as we start off this Thursday morning here, we're watching some satellite imagery as the sun was rising. You can see quite a few of the pieces we've been talking about this week, including Hurricane Earl, which is going to make this hard turn out to open ocean, and then Hurricane Danielle, which is going to continue over the next 2 days coming up along the coast of the Baja of California before turning out to open ocean. Hurricane K is one of these I'm going to have to watch carefully because the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service, of course, have both kind of issued a risk for flooding down here in Southern California. And this whole pattern, as it's been evolving here with a large ridge of heat and high pressure that's been across the west, is starting to break down and change. And that's been after we've seen not only widespread wildfires throughout the west, but record heat. If I take you back to last night, you can see that a lot of that wildfire smoke was intermixing with a lot of cloud cover through the west. And some of these produced some very strong storms that moved through parts of the west, including Oregon into Idaho and Montana last night. We had some strong wind reports. But the risk of wildfires continues today, and we can see that in our all hazards weather map this morning. So we still have the wildfire risk, the red flag warnings that are out for the coast, and then from Idaho all the way into the plains today. We still have another day of heat throughout the Central Valley of California down into Southern California, but this is where the flood risk has just started to increase. Now, quickly through the tropics, out in the Atlantic, Earl's going to curl to the north. Danielle is really far to the north. The lead wave we've been keeping an eye on here off of Africa has been upgraded to a 70% chance of development, and the wave following it is a 30%. But we need to see where those waves are going. It looks as though that lead wave, according to the forecast models, will more likely make a northward turn into the Atlantic. But it's the second wave that we'll just need to watch all weekend long to see where it ends up early next week, as it still shows a possibility of moving its way over just north of the Lesser Antilles. And that's just basically where the steering currents are taking it and where there's more conducive conditions. But it's going to be Hurricane K that's going to keep a lot of our attention here over the next 72 plus hours. It's currently a hurricane, but it will weaken as it moves north and then make this turn away from California. But that won't prohibit the moisture from getting into Southern California. Just to show what that looks like here, this is a forecast. Let's just take you back here from Friday into Saturday and Sunday, and you can see that parts of Southern California, according to the European model, have a chance of getting 1 to 3 plus inches of rainfall. This, of course, will be enhanced with the changes in elevation throughout the mountain chains that are in Southern California. But you'll even notice that going forward from there, some of the moisture from K could spread early next week into the Intermountain West and bring in some storms. You also notice at the beginning of this animation the rain that's coming through here. I want to talk to you about that next by going right over to the high-res NAM. There's a really strong front that's coming through the northern plains of the United States right now, and it's one we've been talking about for a while here. And as it slides through today, there is the risk for some stronger storms this afternoon and this evening along that front, but it will be bringing some rain into some of the driest places in the western Corn Belt in through here. And as that front slices throughout Friday, this is Friday afternoon and evening, it's going to eventually meet up with an upper level low that's spinning over Louisiana today. And that upper level low is going to continue to draw moisture into the eastern part of the United States as it kind of teams up with another shortwave that's sliding right down through here to meet up with it over the eastern Corn Belt. Also in this animation, you can see where the high-res NAM model at least is putting that heavy rainfall coming into Southern California from Hurricane K. Okay, so if this is the frontal position by midday on Saturday, let's just see what the upper levels of the atmosphere are kind of telling us about this whole setup. So we're looking again at vorticity, and what I want to watch for is kind of the teaming up of this upper level cutoff low here and this shortwave that's moving along that frontal boundary right here coming out of Wyoming. Because the models are attempting to take 1, 2, and 3 different pieces of this shortwave, see it? And kind of pull it into another cutoff low that sits, like I said, over the upper Midwest and eventually moves by Monday into Tuesday over the eastern Corn Belt and eastern Great Lakes. So it's that combination of events right there that leads to more persistent flow on the eastern side for heavier rainfall, cooler temperatures around this upper level low, while heat will rebound in the west here, in the western side of the plains at least. And this will bring in several days of showers and possibly some storms. I do want to play out to the very end of this animation because of this feature right here on the 16th and 17th. There is a chance of a system rolling into the northwest that could prove to be pretty impactful, possibly initiating storms here initially in the west, getting into Montana, and then pulling across the country here as we go from like the 17th through the 20th. But as it stands, let's go right to the high-res NAM, just kind of see, high-res European model, and see how this all shakes down. Let's pick it up here on Saturday where the high-res NAM left off. So Saturday, getting into Sunday and Monday. Do you see that? That's the combination of that front and those three short waves combining together to give you this upper level low. So you can actually see the flow around it while the scattered rain moves from K into parts of the Intermountain West. So that upper level low by Tuesday into Wednesday just pulls into New England. So it's a very slow mover here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. See that? And then after that, our attention is going to come back to the west for the next system possibly emerging, 16th, 17th, 18th, somewhere in this area. Could get some scattered rain out ahead of this, but overall we're going to watch for that next big wave to come through. So we put it all together, and this is our next 7 days of total accumulated precipitation from the WPC. So we continue to see better rains like we talked about yesterday along the first front. There's K, and here's all the moisture getting pulled out ahead of that system. We're dry outside of those regions for the most part as we look over the next 7 days. But as we discussed, even the ensembles are seeing that system on, I don't know, maybe the 17th or 18th coming through the west. And as it pulls through the United States, they've increased the chances of having above normal rains in this area. This would get us right up there to the beginning of fall. That's what we're looking at here over the next the week 2 time period. Let's finish this up with a quick discussion on temperatures. And today, watch the temperature change as the front slides through. We had 100-degree heat here yesterday, and now we're in the 70s for forecast highs today. Still another scorcher for the Central Valley of California, and the heat out ahead of this, triple digits in Nebraska. But that front's advancing quickly. So we could see a 30-plus degree swing in temperatures here by Friday. And as we go forward into Saturday and Sunday, that cooler air moves east, whereas we talked about the warmth starts to rebound here throughout parts of the western plains. So this is next Tuesday and Wednesday, so that kind of shows you the progression of those temperatures. Do note, though, that by next week we've cooled off the west, so the heat that's been endured as of late does have kind of an expiration date, and that trough that's coming into the west is really going to help this out considerably, plus K's cloud cover is going to help this out too. Overall, if there's a risk of getting a temperature down there toward frost, it's going to be very close to the higher elevation here early this weekend. Lows could get into the mid-30s, but otherwise we'll have overnight lows across a big section of the country, really right in through here, that may dip down into the mid-40s. So no really big risk of an early frost at this point. As the temperatures move forward, let's pull this up real quick here. Thought I had it ready for you. But we're going to go in, we'll use the European ensemble from one of my favorite sites, weathermodels.com, and I'll take you out there to that 5-day sliding window on temperatures from the 0Z run. So what we're going to keep an eye on here is any attachment to one of these systems to some deep Arctic air. And as we play this forward, we just don't see that happening. Getting out here into the 3rd week of the month, and even going forward here, past that time period, we just don't see really cold air setting up at any given time. So I don't see an early risk of a frost at this point. In tonight's in-depth video and then in tomorrow's report, I will be talking quite a bit more about South America over the next 10 days. While we're not yet seeing the full start of the monsoon, there are better rains here in Para and Mato Grosso, and down in southern Brazil, some very heavy rainfall. So we have to see what this means against some of the long-range forecasts, which have been calling for some drought issues down here in southern Brazil. Yet the near-term forecast is looking a little bit wetter than normal. In fact, some places here are picking up several inches of rain. So a lot to be talking about tonight. I'll look forward to giving you that long-range update, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks.